So tomorrow we have one more session tomorrow, and today is the business edition. Okay. And so welcome once again. It's Ethan Mosoli, the merchant of success. Woo! This is the fourth session, and by God's grace, here we are. It's always God's grace, my friend, because it's God that gives us makes our heart beat and our breath, keep moving. So in terms of again, these are some of the lessons that I've learned, those of you who have worked with me for a while now, because I have some of my coaching clients here who have been with me for a while. You could have had me say some of these things, but I'm sure there is at least a couple of things you haven't had me say before by the time we are done today. So these are some of the lessons I've learned. And let me preface this by saying, since September 2003, I've been self-employed. And also that word self-employed, by the way, that should have been one of the lessons, but I will preface that way. The word self-employed is a big no that should be crossed out of your vocabulary. Because think about it, and this is something I've said for close to 2 decades. It's just this year that I became much more aware. So if you have a business, please stop this business of calling yourself self-employed. Say, I have a business, okay? Have a business. Because when you say self-employed, it means what you're really doing is that you created another job for yourself. And that limits how far you can grow. And as I look back, that's something that no one told me, but I realized, I believe this year, sometime early this year. So stop this business of self-employed. Just say I have a business or I run a business. The other danger I saw was when I was starting, one of the mistakes I made is I would say, oh, I have a small business in consulting, training, and coaching. And I hear that often. So if you're that kind that has been saying that, also stop that. Stop that. So those are the 2 things that are not part of these slides, but they are big lessons that I would encourage you to take note of or write somewhere, so to speak. Because the reality is, when you think about it, the moment you say, I have a small business, you're making a declaration to the world that, you have this small thing. And I'm not saying that if it is just that, so I have a big business. Yes, I have a business. That's enough. Do not have to limit yourself before you get started in the first place. So just say I have a business. And so I haven't gotten it out of my vocabulary yet. I'm in the process, and I believe I'm going to get there. I'll get there 100%. So I would say since September 2003, I've been in the business, mainly coaching, training, and consulting. And to be honest with you, I've had much more in terms of failures than successes. And I believe that's part of what gives me the authority to talk about this. It's not like I have a PhD in business. Guess what? Once you're in business for 20 years, because September next year I'll be making 20 years, so close to 20 years, then surely you have enough practical credentials. May not have the academic credentials, but through the University of Business knocks and business blessings, because sometimes say life of hard knocks. No, but they are knocks and blessings. Well, we call it what? The world of knocks, life, no? Or the life of hard knocks or something like that. The University of Hard Knocks. Yeah, but it can also be a University of Blessings. So through ups and downs, I've learned a lot, because one of the gifts I have is I pay attention. I'm always keen to draw lessons. So that's the authority I have. And most critical is that I've stayed in the game. I've stayed in the game all these years. Therefore, that's part of what gives me the authority to talk about this. So first, I've already given you 2 lessons around your language. Stop calling it self-employed, call it business. And of course, the other key is to make sure that I talked about two things. Now the second lesson has what did I say the second piece was, apart from the language? Don't call it a business. Instead of calling it self-employed. Thank you very much. Yeah, so instead of saying self-employed, it's just say I have a business, because language matters, language matters, language matters. Okay. Reflection number 29. Excellent product or service is not enough without marketing. Okay. And when I was starting out, I just imagined and believed, look, all I need is this excellent product or this excellent service, people will find me. In fact, there is a saying out there that that if you have a product, if that build it and they'll find you, build it and people will beat their path to your doorstep. No, life doesn't work that way. So you have to market what you have. Because I'll tell you that there are people, and when I say marketing, also you look at yesterday when I was talking about during the career I talked about please remember to mute always. So yesterday I was talking about personal branding and marketing. So if even you yourself look at yourself as a product or as a brand that is worth marketing. So let me give you a clue. How many of you have noticed that, there are people with less abilities, less experience, but they are earning much more from their career because they have branded themselves better, they are marketing themselves better, they are positioning themselves better out there. And authentically, not that they are lying or anything like that, but they are aggressively marketing and positioning themselves better. And that's at a personal level. I'm talking about now as an individual. If you know of such a person, type 1, if you know of such a person, just at a career level, and I know such people myself, okay? I know a few of those. So if you know of such people because they are marketing themselves better, branding themselves better, positioning themselves better, and as such, they are attracting better opportunities or better income as a result, type 1 in the chat box. See? Yeah, I'm seeing someone has typed a 1 here. I'm sure this isn't only one person. So the rest of you feel you're better. Okay, I'm seeing a couple of ones coming through. Okay, fair enough. Then now let's talk about the business side. Most likely, most of us have a business on the side in one way or the other. And oh, by the way, just to confirm, if you have a business, whether full-time or part-time, and I don't care the size of the business, type 2 if you have a business. Not aspiring, but you have a business. Have an income generating project or side hustle. Yeah, boy. What you mean, boy? What I tell your bitch ass? What I tell you, boy? Shaky. What the fuck I tell you? You thought I was playing, man? Okay, so let me see. Now, someone, one of my my co-hosts muted me accidentally.
Sorry about that. I was trying to.
That's okay. That's okay. No worries. You don't need to. Okay, so just look through. There are some people who are not muted. Okay, cool. Now, okay, I can see we have a couple of people in business. Now, if you know, for some of us who have businesses, and by the way, in case you don't have a business, this is still perfect for you because then you learn some things that have taken me all these years to learn anyway, so that if you ever start a business, then you'll know. So how many of us then does any of us know of someone who, it's not that they have a better product or service, but they are generating more money because they are marketing themselves better. And again, I know of a couple of such people. Type letter 3 or Y, meaning Y yes or 3 yes. Type in the chat box, just because they are better at marketing and they are positioning themselves better. Okay, yeah, there we go. So this is that's critical indeed for us to remember that when we have a product or service. Please, all of us, if you're out there, kindly keep your mics muted. It helps a lot. What does this mean? It means that if you have something, find a way to market it. Because even the Bible, I believe it's Christ who said that if you have a lamp, you don't hide it under the bed. Or, you have to put it out there. So you have to put the light. Look at your product or service, or even your career or your personal brand as a light unto the world, which deserves to be out there. So I know that this is an area that myself, I can go way, way better. I can do at least 10 times more than what I'm doing now. And I believe I will get there moving forward. In the next few months, you'll see a lot more from me moving forward that I've promised you. Because the last couple of months, I've been doing a lot of research, studying, and reflections. Now I'm going to go gung-ho, full throttle with sales and marketing. So that's tip 29 or lesson 29. The next lesson 30 is get people who are different from you. Because I noticed, and when I say it's not just about looking for someone just slightly different, just like the image you're seeing there, it's all onions anyway. But it's really about getting people who think different, who are from a different background, who will argue with you or disagree with you in some aspects, because through that, that's how you get breakthroughs. How did I discover this? When I was just starting out, I was looking for people who are like me, who are just keen to go out there and speak and, they are just out there. I did not look for project managers. I did not look for accountants. I did not look for lawyers. I did not look for, operations-oriented people. I did not look for detail-oriented people. So just looking for characters who are like me. But guess what? All these are critical components to any business. So now that I'm older and wiser, I'm always very keen to look for people who are different from me. So if you really want to, because you see, a business is a multitude of skill sets. It's a multitude of different moving parts. A car has different parts. There are tires, there are seats, there's an ignition key, you need wipers, you need a windscreen, you need all, that's what makes a car. So look at your business as a car, in that you need different parts that are different, but who contribute to a successful business. But if I was to boil it down, of course, you need a marketing, you need someone very strong in marketing, you need someone very strong in finance, you need someone very strong in operations, you need someone very strong on the customer service end of things. But if I was to point the big picture, you need someone who brings in the customers, you need someone who services those customers, you need someone who can make sure that things are running smoothly. And if you can get legal support, it may not be part-time or full, it may not be full-time, I beg your pardon, it can be part, but you need a lawyer on board, so to speak. So you need all these moving parts to make things move. So I'm not saying that those are the only ones, but those are core, those are key. If you look at any enterprise that is successful, that's how they operate. So you need to ask yourself, where are you great in all these aspects? Then look for other people who are different. Yesterday I was talking about one time I talked about completing, that's not my core strength, but I'm a genius at starting things. Genius, because it's like every day I'm always seeing an opportunity that I can start, that I can kick off. I'm brilliant at starting, and I need people who can maintain and expand and also complete. So this is an extremely critical point. Please type 1 if you've understood what I've just said. So because that's core for me. Okay, please type 1 to make sure you've understood this point that I've just mentioned, because it's extremely important. Okay, cool, it's clear, fantastic. Next, point 31 is borrow insights from other industries. Okay, now this is also related to the other point of different people. People have different skill sets, different abilities. So you also need to borrow insights from other industries. What do I mean? Like for me, who is in consulting, training, coaching, as I should be asking myself, okay, what can I learn from the hotel industry? What insight can I learn from the music industry? What can I learn from the manufacturing industry? What insight can I borrow from that? And then once you learn those insights, you ask yourself, okay, how can I apply it? So you study, you see how they do things, and then you say, okay, how can I make it relevant? How can I make it practical? How can I make it tangible? How can I make it usable in my industry? So, for example, I noticed, like in the music industry, wow, this is cool. Like in the music industry, when an artist has a show, they get other artists to complement them, so to speak. And I believe that's a brilliant idea, in a sense that then the fans of that other star who's appearing on stage, they're going to come because people come for different characters. Now, as I'm saying this, I've noticed that that's something I could borrow. I could implement if I have a workshop. How can I get other partners or other characters who are in my industry of training, of coaching, or speaking and all that? And then that would expand my audience, but then it would add more value to my clientele. So it's as if God is speaking to me right now. Okay, so, so Pio Simon, I don't know what you're doing. So you need to figure out a way to stop playing around with this. Okay, so I don't know how that's happening. So what we need to ask ourselves is, how can we make sure that those insights, how can we make sure that we borrow those insights from other people? And just a moment. So excuse me, sorry about that. Let me see how to do this. So borrow insights from other industries, because then you are able to figure out. So I've given you an example from my side. So you need to think about, for your own business, what is it that you can do to borrow these ideas, to borrow these insights, and then ask yourself, how can I apply this out there in the world? Okay, or in my business world, I beg your pardon. 32. Beyond you. You always need to think beyond me. So what does this mean, beyond me? Or how can I get this business or this idea that when I'm not around, this operates beyond me? Now, the good news for me, at least that's something I'm very grateful for. When I was starting out, I typically started out as an individual in my work. And then during that period, I got an insight and asked myself, said, okay, what if something happens to me? This dream I have of transforming the world, what happens? I was like, okay, God forbid if I pass on now, then the dream ends right there and then. So that's when I birthed the idea of Success Africa and looked for a partner, and we got going. So that's one aspect from a corporate perspective. But then also, yesterday I was hinting about empowering other people. Also, when we say beyond you, I'm talking about you, the entrepreneur. What does it mean beyond you? So what are those things we need to have in place? Whether it's the legal documents, whether it's the documentation of systems, whether it's the certain, with my team now, at least they know, okay, if we want to do a training needs assessment, there's a certain set of questions that my team knows at the click of a button that they can access and send out to a prospect without my intervention. So now that is beyond me. These are things I built over time in my head, and I had to document. Now, again, this is where you need to find someone who is a little different from you. Now, I know for a fact that I need someone who is good at documenting processes and systems. And by the way, if you're that kind who loves documenting processes and systems and that can be replicated, please reach out to me. I'm looking for such a talent, because ultimately I'm not yet there, but I will tell you that that's the process that we are still amidst running. There are a couple of things that are already beyond me that can, like I've given you an example. So of, like training needs assessment. Of course, there are other things that in the interest of time, I can't go into detail. So what are those things that you need to put in place? 2, besides the documentation, can you start training people, mentoring people, coaching people? I recently, I will tell you, I've mentored some people and then I apply for a job, a consulting job, and then I find that I'm going to compete with those people on the job. Now, other people would feel bad about that. For me, I'm like, okay, great. This is a sign of growth. The person I mentored or coached, that they are operating at a level where now they can earn an income from this, and that they are coming to a place whereby they can compete for these jobs, which they couldn't do a couple of years ago. So I'm grateful that I know that there are people who can do a good number of things that I do. It may not be exactly how I do it, because again, God created us differently. No one can do something exactly as the other. Typically, if it involves being creative or being innovative, that would be almost unheard of, so to speak, if it involves innovation and creativity and all this stuff. So you need to always think and say, okay, what is it that I need to do beyond me? What is that thing that I need to put in place to extend my business venture, my engagement, to go beyond what I've been thinking about? Okay, that's the beyond you. The other lesson that I've learned over the years is this: innovate consistently. And I put there those 3 words. When we talk, there's what they call the circle of innovation. Assuming this was the not circle, triangle. Assuming this was a triangle, let me see. Yeah, assuming this was the triangle. So you look at one end as time, the other one is money, the other one is quality. So innovation is somewhere in the middle, okay, assuming that's the middle, assuming my nose is the middle part, the point, is where there is a balance between time, money, and quality. What do I mean? Innovation is where you can do something faster with less money, but higher quality. Okay, so like this laptop is an example. Does it save me time? I mean, is it faster? I beg your pardon. Does it operate faster? Yes, it's a faster processor. Less money? Yes, compared to I remember I bought a laptop in 2005 or 6. And I remember it costed me $1,400. This laptop I have costed me about $1,000. But I will tell you, in terms of efficiency, capacity, and all that, because technologies they are always innovating. Emily will tell you, who is in the technological field, it's always accelerating. So it is, I mean, I can't even imagine. It's way more than even 10 times more efficient, more effective, in so many aspects, can do so many things. So that's what we mean by innovation. So, and I'm sure it must, from their own ways of being, they must have figured out a way to produce it in lesser time with less money. That's why it was charging less compared to what it was being charged, say, couple of more than 10 years ago. Is that 10 years? Yeah, more than 10 years ago. And then the quality is higher. So that's innovation. So from your space, in your business, you need to ask yourself, how can I do this in less time, with less money, but higher quality? Because sometimes in the effort to reduce time and money, we compromise on quality. But I will tell you, there are also ways to improve quality by reducing the resources spent and time spent. So that's the magic. That's what you should be asking yourself. Now, you may not innovate all the 3 at a time, but you could even pick one thing. Okay, I want to maintain the same quality, same funds, but then I want to do it faster. Then once you figure that one out, say, okay, now that we figured out the timing thing, how can we spend less money but achieve higher quality, but at least maintain the same quality? Then you achieve that. Okay, you say, okay, cool. Now, with the same time, how can we improve the quality? Then that's how you keep innovating. That's how you keep getting things better and better and better. And then you're able to accelerate ahead of the pack. Next. Before I move into the next segment, because it's been quite a while since I last checked in, does this make sense? Jimmy Otema says, you are right. Peter Drucker said, innovate or die. Yes, absolutely. If you're not innovating, then you'll die in it, and die not physically, but metaphorically, so to speak. The business dies. Does this make sense so far? Is it clear? Does it make sense? Type the word yes or why for me to know that we are still on the same page here before I continue the same segment. Okay. Yeah, Arthur Gimei says consistently. Yes, that's the key. Because if you just innovate today and then you keep quiet, doesn't add. Thank you for reminding me about that. The Goretti says, Claire, is fantastic. Arthur, that's a fantastic reminder, because I did not emphasize that part consistently. Because you see, if you innovate today, I mean, I put something out there today, okay? Today I've created something, but if I just, and I'm sure you're grateful, but if I just fold my arms, oh, I innovated, I created something, and then I keep quiet, then I would disappear. I would disappear before your attention. So that's the key. It has to be consistent. I love organizations that are always innovating and they are always pushing things out there. But Jema says even the best innovators in tech slowed down this year and have the scar tissue to show for it. Innovation must be continuous and consistent. Absolutely. Thank you, Benjamin. So that's the key thing. You have to innovate. And I should say time and money should not stop us from innovating. Let's find a way. Let's find a way to do that. Now, one of the other things I believe that can help us innovate more as a business is not to punish mistakes. Because that's the thing I see most people do, or the consistency and quality. Yes, consistency, but then the quality to keep improving in it, because the standards keep being pushed higher. I like the fact that people are engaging on this. Looks like it has, connected at a high level. So the quality, how do we keep improving the quality? Now, oh yes, this is the point I wanted to emphasize for us entrepreneurs. The moment you punish mistakes, when I say mistakes, when do not punish mistakes when someone is putting in an effort to innovate. So someone might think of creating something to innovate something, and then they blow up or they make a mistake. Now, the biggest danger you can make is to punish and declare this person as some stupid fellow, and how could you, whom do you think you are? You think you're too wise? These things have always worked this way. What is it? Why? And I see many organizations do that, and that's how they kill innovation. Now, for you as an entrepreneur, you have to be very careful of that. That doesn't mean that just because someone has made a mistake, say, oh, well done for the mistake. No, I'm saying you can sit with them, first of all, congratulate them and thank them for the effort to innovate, to think outside the box, and then analyze what can you do differently to make sure that this doesn't happen, or how can you bring their dream to reality. So encourage. This I learned from, an illustration for this. I was at an event. It was a father-daughter dance event. And there was a young girl who was referring to the father, thanking the father. That is a daughter to PDG Mwanje. I'm sure Goretti knows, because Goretti is a Rotarian. And she was thanking the father, PDG Mwanje, past district governor Mwanje, that at one time, believe that the daughter, who's old now but was young then, attempted to mix some things while cooking and spoiled things, like I believe the mom must have been doing a dish somehow, and then she attempted to pour in some things and things got spoiled. So the mother got mad or attempted to beat her. I don't know whether she was beaten or attempted to beat her. Most likely she was attempting to beat her, and then the father stopped and said, no. this girl was learning how to cook, just encourage her, teach her. And for her, she never forgot that. And I believe that's the mentality we should bring to our staff when they're attempting to innovate. Let us encourage them rather than discourage them. Let us teach them, coach them, inspire them. Then that will increase the rate of innovation in our enterprises. Okay, cool. Next tip. Lesson number 34. It's about what the customer values, not your perspective. Oh, let me give you a clue here. How many of us, it may not be business directly because some of us may not necessarily be having businesses per se. You had this amazing idea, or you had something that you thought was the most valuable thing to either your staff or your colleagues or to your customers, and people were unhappy and they were angry. Like, how could you even think of it? How could you do that? For you spent ages, you spent a lot of time or money or energy, or a combination of all that. You did all that, you had good intentions, and the other people were angry or unhappy, or they even abused you, and they're like, how could you even do that? If that has ever happened to you, it has happened to me a couple of times, definitely. And it could even be home or business or workplace. If it has ever happened to you, type letter 2 or number 2. If it has ever happened to you, okay, just type 2 in the chat box. It has happened to me. So let me see if it has happened to some people. I can see some tools coming through. Yeah, there you go. So, and that's life, my friend. And in the same way, that's how you should be thinking about business. What matters most is, what does the customer want? What do they fully appreciate? Then focus on that, because that's what will make them pay you, not what you only think. Now, that does not mean that you cannot educate people about the value of what you have. That's another perspective. But for the start with, what do they really want? And ultimately, it's what do they value? Because if you've educated them and they value and they celebrate what is fantastic, great. But the thing is, because the mistake I did, and it took me more than 15 years to learn, was I would come up with things, create things, and then I go out there in the marketplace, say, hey, there's this nice thing here, you should buy it if you pay this amount of money. Wrong way to do business. The right way to do business, and there's an even better way, is to go out, find out, what does the market value? What do they really want? What do they really want? And then provide that. If you look at the businesses that excel, then they really look at, what does the customer want? What does the person want? And they focus on that. So as much as possible. Of course, there are people who are geniuses, people like Steve Jobs. They would create things and then they market, they show you why you should consider this thing. No one had ever thought about an iPad of sorts, but pushed people. He didn't do market research for the the way the iPhone was looking like, at least for a start. Most probably later they did, but he wasn't the kind to do. He would find something valuable and then market it to us. Now, having said that, there are definitely, for me, from my perspective, I also believe that there are certain individuals. I believe there are certain individuals whom God communicates to and gives them a vision, because already God knows that people need this, and they get that clear vision and they implement it, and then boom. So it's not like market research is the only way to do things. I'm saying, as much as possible, find out, what does the market value. Now, if you also get a clear message from God to do something, you do it. You don't go into debate. You don't go to the market to ask. No, you implement. Because, God knows everything. Okay, next. Tip number 5, start locally but think globally. Oh, Lord, I was talking to someone today. If there is one thing that I look back to and I'm like, oh, How did I think of that earlier? Was exactly this. So when I was starting out in my work here, I just was thinking locally. When I say locally, I mean, you know, my country and the neighboring countries. That's it. I forgot that there's a whole world out there. If someone had told me this 19 years ago when I was starting, or even 15 years ago, when I had just been in business for about 4 years, I can tell you I would be at least a minimum 30 to 50 times ahead of where I am now. Just this thought alone. So please, please do not limit yourself. Do not make a mistake that I made. One of the reasons I did these segments or these lessons is that there are things I'm able to see now that I couldn't see then, that I don't want people who are starting out to go through the same process. It shouldn't take you, all these years to learn. Okay. It took me more than 15 years to figure this out. I'm like, no, I don't want another person to do that. And I don't want you to make that same mistake. So this is what I mean. It doesn't stop you from marketing yourself globally. Now, even if it's career, the good news now is with the internet. You can be employed by a company anywhere in the world and you work from home. For your business, you can market it globally. I don't care what that is. If it's a hotel, get clients from whichever country. If it is whatever the business is, market it. Let the world know. Even if someone from another country does not buy it physical or something, they might know someone who's just next door. It could be that their son, their uncle, their grandmother, their grandson, their granddaughter is looking for exactly that thing, and they will send them a message and say, hey, by the way, you check this thing out. Why? Because you're out there globally. So I really cannot emphasize the value of this. So start locally, but think globally, or aim to be global, aim to be a global brand. That's my goal now. And if you're brilliant at global branding, whatever the thing is, come on to me, I'm looking fire. Because now I know I'm ready for the global market. So I should have thought at least 15 years back, but at least I now know 45. Still got energy, still got some vibe. Yeah, can still go. All right. So this you must get. If you forget everything else, this, if you get it right, it will save you a lot of pain, headaches that I've gone through. Please, I want to confirm that you've got it. If you got it, type got it. If you got this point I've just mentioned, type got it. Or if you want to pronounce it in my typical accent, say got it. Type got it. Good. Got it. Type, yes. Type that you got it. Come on. Got it. Yes. Fantastic. Now that you got that, thank you for making my evening. Thank you for making my day. Those of you who are watching the recording, make sure you type wherever this thing is, say, I got it, Ethan. Okay, so if I read your comment, then I will say, yeah, this one got it. Next, this is another one that took me more than 15 years. Ask for help on earth and heaven. I've always asked for lots of help. When I say heaven, I mean God, the divine powers, the spiritual power. But then on earth, it's like, I felt like I could take on the world. It's like, yeah, I've always had a dream to impact the world. But then I was looking at myself as Ethan. Okay, I'm seeing lots of people, but I like the accents here. Got it. Okay. Okay. So ask for help on earth and heaven. I Took me a very long time to discover that I'm not Superman, to know that it's okay to ask for help. Possibly this comes with wisdom, of course, once you get to the 4th floor and beyond. But I'm here to propose to you, do not wait till you're 45, okay? So it's okay to ask for help. And I know there could be a few of us who could be older than me, but I know most of us are younger than me. And I'm here to propose to you that if you have a constructive dream, there are people who are willing to help. Ask for help. Ask for help. You can't take the whole world alone. You can ask for help, and there are people who are willing to help. And it wasn't ego, it was ignorance from my perspective then. Now I'm much wiser. So you'll be looking at me asking for more and more help down the road. And it's okay. It's okay. You're human. It's called being human. Ask for help so long as what you're asking help for is constructive and productive and useful for planet Earth. There are people who are willing to help. There are people whose joy is just to help. They just love helping. And you're just there dying alone. No, ask for help, my friend. Ask. And you shall receive, okay? Right. And then things will be easier for you. Things will be easier for you. So I believe this is next is you cannot fool the market forever. Start with authenticity. See, there are people who choose to cut corners, lie, cheat. Please, do not do that. The world will catch up with you. Someone was talking about of a certain brand that they do maize flour, and I believe they started putting some, they weren't doing proper removing of stones and all that stuff, I'm sure, to save money or whatever you want to call it. That business cannot be sustained. You go down, period. You can fool a few people, but word goes around super fast. The good news is, if you're doing good, word also goes around. What I've discovered is that when it's bad, word goes around much faster. Much faster. So you die, the business dies faster. Now, if you're doing good, word does not always move around much faster. They move slowly with time, but it's much more sustainable. And over time, you reach a momentum where now things move much faster. It takes time to build the momentum, but once you get the momentum, then it's unstoppable. So I'm here to propose to you that choose to be authentic in whatever you're doing. Do not just lie, cheat, cut corners here and there for the sake of an extra buck or for, do not think of food for today. No, create a legacy. Think in legacy terms. Think, if nothing, even if you don't benefit, at least your children will benefit. Looking back, and this is my belief, I believe that sometimes women, even if we do not directly benefit from the works that we've done, our children would benefit from that. Because there are people who will say, your son did this for me, your mom did this for me. Because there are things I've benefited from friends of my father, and he didn't benefit. I benefited more from my father's efforts than he benefited from his own efforts as I look back. Because when he passed on, his friends who contributed money for me to finish A-levels and go to university, and that opened up so many doors for me. So, that contribution from the friends opened up so many doors for me. So just do good, be authentic, just do good, just do good, just do good, just do good in your business. Find a way to do the right thing, create a great experience, create value, do not lie, be honest, aim for excellence, aim for a great customer experience. That's fantastic. Don't cut corners. I know that my good friend, Professor Goretti, in their outlets at Royal Suites Bugolobi, they are renovating their place to make sure that customers have a great experience. That's being authentic. It's doing something that is going to add extra value, so to speak. Okay. Because I know it believes in, Goretti believes in excellence. So it's like, let's make this thing even better. Joyce is asking, I think authenticity is also about being true to your vision rather than simply duplicating. Absolutely, Joyce, you're absolutely spot on. So, being true to your vision, to what you believe in. Because when you stick to what you believe in, then you're going to be excellent, you're going to be solid, you're going to be grounded. But when you're just borrowing things, duplicating, or just working to appease someone or to do certain, no, it doesn't work that way. Yeah, so that's part of it. Thank you very much. Yeah, it does. And then when you're authentic, when you're true to yourself, then people will feel that. They will sense that. And then they stick with you. They will stick with your business. Great. So to recap, these are the lessons. Excellent product or service is not enough without marketing. Get people who are different from you. Borrow insights from other industries. Think beyond you. Innovate consistently. Time, money, and quality. Someone reminded me of Peter Drucker that innovate or die. It's about what the customer values, not your perspective. Start locally, but think globally and aim globally. Not even think, but aim to go global. Ask for help on earth and heavens, because the earth and the heavens will support you, so to speak. You cannot fool the market forever. Start with authenticity. Please be true, be true, be true. So type in the chat box, what did you find most useful in this presentation, and how are you going to implement the lessons moving forward in your life and career / business? And so as you type that, remember, go to Succeeding Daily to access these lessons. I did 50 training sessions on life and career development. I was planning to charge $1,000 at least, and God told me to give everything away for free. So you can access that right here. If you need coaching, go to ethanmussolini.com/coaching. I would encourage you to subscribe to my social media channels, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. My handle is Ethan Mussolini. Those are my phone numbers if you want training in different aspects. And if you want human resource consulting and training, go to success-africa.com or send an email, info@success-africa.com. Florence is my current assistant. Those are her phone numbers. You can also reach out to Jerry, who's our HR associate. So those are the contacts. We are at Impala House for Success Africa. Now, other than that, I want to see someone typed something here. Thanks for sharing the words of wisdom and understanding. It was unfortunate that I missed yesterday and on Thursday because of the network issue, but that may God bless you and your family. Oh, you're very kind. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. Lessons and insights. Goretti says, get people different from me. Great. Jimmy, get people different and better than you. I actually like that, or better than you. That's even more brilliant, okay? If you can find people who are smarter than you, people who are insecure, they look for people who are weaker, all that stuff. Smart people look for those who are smarter than them to make you better. We need not fear, but embrace them. Thank you, Jimmy. That's fantastic. Well put. Okay, great. So let me stop the sharing for now, and I turn on that creating a legacy for Beatrice. Alfred need to start small but aim globally, innovating consistently. A very big plus and lesson for me today. Great. I'm glad you got this wonderful lesson. So please go ahead. Let me see.